Welcome to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Fangs.
And we're back, man. Episode 391.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get right into it. Cameron. The show, it is what it is, with Cameron and Mace and Treasure Wilson. Recently had Adrian Broner. What was his division? 154?
Nah, he fought at 140 and 147.
140 and 147.
Yeah, 135.
Yeah, formerly or previously a professional fighter, champion. And he was a world champion for a second too. Mm-hmm. Then Maidana came and knocked his block off.
Yeah.
After Maidana beat him, he wasn't the same after that. But anyways, he was on the show. It is what it is, and this is what he was doing. Basically, Treasure Wilson is a very attractive, young woman. She's probably like 25, probably maybe something like that, 26. And he went on. He just kept beating down the fact that she was attractive. And I'll run it here. Let me play the clip for you.
Can you please tell,
bro? Some G, yo, bro. Some G shit. We gotta have boyfriend here, yo.
Oh shit!
I told you that.
My bad.
Nah, like it's all like. Pause the show for a minute. Like I love your energy and the shit.
My bad.
Your energy good, but it gotta be a limit with it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? All right. Yeah. And trust me, I love you. You know you my brother. I'm just saying, it was cool, but her boyfriend here.
Cam just checked me.
Nah, you my brother. I'm just saying, like, yo, what type of brother? What type of brother I'm gonna be if her boyfriend here and it's of course stat look good, but it gotta be a limit, bro.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I gotta stop that shit.
Yeah, it's all good. All right. Sorry about that, Nick.
I'm all right.
All right. Sorry about that. And I ain't trying to come at you, but that's my sister too. So.
Yeah.
All right, yo.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I can't talk. I mean, all right, you told me to stop. My bad, bro. You're amazing.
All right, hey, we gonna have to ask you to go, my nigga. I have to ask you to go, man. I'm gonna pay you for your time, for being here. I appreciate you. I love you, my nigga.
I'm not doing it again.
Yeah, no. I can't. I asked you the first time. I don't have no problems with you, but I'm gonna pay you for your time. But you can't violate, bro. I told you that.
All right, what you take from that is Adrian Broner was making passes at Treasure Wilson, known as Stat, on that platform, and he kept doing it, and her boyfriend was actually in the studio. So he was making the situation pretty volatile. Like he was just being, and I'm pretty sure he was under the influence of alcohol, but that's no excuse. When you come to somebody's platform, you need to have respect. Not to mention, you need to know how to behave yourself when women are in the room, especially attractive women. Because you got to understand, from a woman's vantage point, especially when she's attractive, women know when they're attractive. They just know it, especially with the amount of men that come up to them and give them the same compliments. They know what they look like. So at some point, you just stop with the compliments and shit, especially in a professional setting. Like, it's been times where I've been in Subway or something, right? And the girl that's making my sandwich is very attractive, nice body and everything. But what good does it do for me to tell her how attractive she is when she's making me a goddamn sandwich? Like, she probably doesn't want to be doing that job. Mm-hmm. And you're making these passes. I've seen umpteenth men on the internet that they'll see like an attractive female police officer. And they'll be like, damn, girl, arrest me, girl. Please arrest me, girl. I don't know what I did, but arrest me. Bro, shut the fuck up. Stop doing that. I think that, yes, it gets a little exhausting hearing women complain like men are trying to do this and do that. But it validates their point when you see dudes doing this corny shit. Like, cut it out, bro. Stop with all the extra theatrics. Like when a woman's in a space too, especially if a woman's working with you and somebody from the outside is doing that, you got to check that guy in a respectful way, of course. But women need to at least feel comfortable in a workspace that they're not just going to get hit on by everybody. Mm-hmm. That's a little fucking ridiculous. So I respected Cam for telling him to leave. You got to get him up out of there, especially with 2025. Bro, you're going to shut your whole platform down, because if she said she felt uncomfortable, that would have fell on the whole platform. Mm-hmm. Especially if a bunch of men sitting there letting that happen, that would have been even fucking worse. So I commend Cam for that. But Cam did something a little bit corny after Adrian Broner left and was just kind of like talking greasy about him. I didn't like that. Mm-hmm. I think if you're going to talk like that, do it concurrently at the very least. Do it while he's still in the studio, right? But I didn't like that part, but I do appreciate the fact that he had enough common sense and enough emotional maturity to say, hey, we can't let this nigga just hit on a freaking colleague like that.
Yeah. I think all of that stuff is true. The only thing that I would say is you can't reason with somebody under the influence.
Absolutely.
You know, so I think, I don't think Adrian Broner would do that in a sober state of mind. I don't think that he would move like that. But again, like we know drunk people, but we've also seen many of videos or situations with the police where police is questioning somebody that's drunk or driving drunk and they can't really answer questions or can't really say the alphabet or can't walk in a straight line, but they say that they are right. All these things. So
the alphabet backwards is kind of fucked up.
It is very difficult.
Even sober, it fucks me up.
Yeah.
I can't do it right now, but go ahead.
But yeah, that's just like, so I think I think Cameron handled the situation as good as he could, given the situation. And I think that Adrian Broner was a person that he seems like he's had a long fall from grace. It was only a few years ago where he was on top of the world. He beat, I think, Paulie Maggiani, or I forget his name, but he beat him for a world championship, and he was like dominating that 135, 140 pound weight class, and he was like supposed to be the next Floyd Mayweather. He's very charismatic. He could talk. He could talk trash and all these things. And like you said, after he lost to Maidana, that kind of changed the trajectory of his career. And he's not really been the same since. But I think he's just a person who's, and I don't know if it's just alcohol or I don't know what type of things he is under, but to be somewhere I don't know when they record, but it seemed like probably during the day.
Yeah.
To be, because they go live during the day, I think. But yeah, to be in that situation during the day, just kind of moving around under the influence.
That's true alcoholism, man.
Yeah, like he just looked like he just looked sad, and it it reminds me of certain people that I know where I was just like, man. But yeah, I think all that being said, but then also afterwards, I guess Adrian Broner was trying to say something to Cameron through the window, and he was calling him like a junkie and stuff like that. And I thought that was like uncalled for, right? Because I don't think. I think that what he did was wrong, Adrian Broner, and I don't want to give him a pass for it.
Right.
But at the same time, he's under the influence. And like I said, no one's making like great decisions, under the influence. So I think for him to kind of like on one end call him his brother, like you good, you my brother, like, you good, it's all good. I'm gonna pay you for your time and all this kind of stuff. We could talk afterwards. And then he gets outside the thing, and then you calling him a junkie and all these other things. I just thought that was kind of.
I think it exposed more about Cameron in that moment.
Mm-hmm. And he said he was using him for content. He said, I'm only using you for content.
Yeah.
Called him a junkie and stuff.
Yeah, but I think that's bad for business. I think that like he didn't have the smarts to keep that off camera at least. Mm-hmm. He said that while on camera, so it's like, bro, that's it looked very two-faced.
Right.
But I will say this, when in regards to just women in general, if you don't feel comfortable, you need to state that. Ladies, you need to have some balls. I know you got vaginas, but you need to have some balls. And if somebody's making you uncomfortable, concurrently say, hey, look, I appreciate you being here, but I appreciate the compliment, but let's focus. Right? I think
I don't know if I like the way that sounds. I hear what you're saying, but I just think that comes off a little like mansplaining.
I disagree. Have some. You're a grown woman.
I'm telling you how it sounds.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this though: if you are in a position as a grown woman and somebody's doing that, you don't need to like play with your hair and be like, "Oh, thank you." If you feel uncomfortable in that moment, say it with your chest. Don't even say you don't have to say you feel uncomfortable. Say, "Hey, I appreciate the compliment, but let's refocus." And your man is there, so consider the person you're dating as well. Because as a man, we have a responsibility too. If a woman's hitting on us, we need to know. We have to learn how to, keep the conversation short. Take the compliment and move on because my girl or my wife is sitting there. It's no different with a woman. you have a responsibility, and her man was in the studio as well. So
yeah, there's not a parallel though. Like there's different dynamics when it comes to the different genders. So you can't really say it on the other side and make a parallel to Treasure Wilson's experience in that. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say that, me personally.
I am saying it. Ladies, if you feel uncomfortable, tell that motherfucker to chill out.
Yeah, I think that, but like telling them they need to say it is a little heavy-handed.
So what's the point then? Like if you feel uncomfortable on the spot and you're gonna say it later, like you've had enough run-ins with men who have been inappropriate and said things to where when it's happening concurrently, you could just turn around. My thing is, if I had a daughter, I would want to empower my daughter to tell a motherfucker to step off. If you were doing too much, I would tell my daughter, hey, if that dude is getting too close, tell him, hey, back up. Like, it's cool, we cool, I ain't got no problems, but you need to back up. Ladies, do not just don't sit back and tolerate when men are being inappropriate or disrespectful. If that's mansplaining, then I'm a mansplain, okay? That's mansplaining that would help you. That's all I'm saying. You don't have to sit back and take that shit. But I'm glad that the men in the room stepped up. Yeah. But I would tell women, don't rely on men in the room to step up, because there are some men that don't have the emotional maturity to notice when you're uncomfortable. Like it could be a dude saying like, yeah, girl, you so fine. Everything about you is fine, girl. Damn, everything. I need you in my life. I want you. And it could be 5 dudes sitting right there, and they thinking in their mind like, I ain't trying to cock block. I ain't gonna say nothing. I ain't trying to cock block. I'm gonna just let him spit his game. And truth be told, like, it's a difference between cock blocking or not. When a woman is completely not interested in you and you continue to do that, you've made this shit very uncomfortable now. You've made it uncomfortable to the point where you've made men like me or Keith or somebody in a room uncomfortable, and now we got to speak on it when we didn't want to say nothing. Right? Like, okay, last night I was watching a live stream or a stream from Rampage Jackson. And the amount of people that kept walking up to him saying the same thing and asking for a picture, it made me start to cringe. And I'm not a celebrity. It was like, oh, man, you're the best, man. Hey, take a picture of me and my wife, man. Can you take a picture? Thanks, Mr. Rampage, man. You're my hero. Next person. Oh, Rampage, man, you're the best, man. When you hit him in the 4th round, next person. Oh, man, that 3rd round. And they're doing it all day long. And to me, I have enough like awareness. If I see a guy like Rampage, if we don't have a reason to speak, I'm going to intentionally leave him alone. He gets that shit all day. All day, every day. People are bothering him for pictures and trying to shake his hand. I'm leaving that man alone. If we're not doing any business, I'm leaving him alone. But most people don't have that. Yeah. They don't have that. This is another point I want to make too in regards to men. If a woman is not mutually when she doesn't have like a mutual attraction, or she doesn't, like, you don't feel invited to her space, leave her the fuck alone. Just don't. Life is a lot easier when women like you, bro. Yeah. Find a woman that likes you. They treat you better. Trust me. If you got to beg, I know you heard a lot of that 90s R&B. I'm down on my knees, begging you, please. Stop begging these women. Leave them the fuck alone.
Yeah. But those are people in relationships.
Yeah. Huh?
They not begging like the girl they don't know.
Shit, I seen motherfuckers begging.
I'm talking about an R&B song. They talking about getting a woman back and like stuff like that.
Even that, don't beg to get her back. You lost her because you fucked up. Be a man and stand on it. If you begging a woman back after you fucked up, that's low. Like, women will never respect you for begging to get them back. Yeah. Bro, the most I won't say player shit you could do, but the most manly thing you could do is if you fucked up, let's say you was fucking it off, you was getting some pussy on the side, and your girl busts you, you say, hey, look, I understand if you never want to see me again. And then leave her the fuck alone. Don't keep begging her, look, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it. Bro, you pulled your pants down, put a condom on, and you fucked. That's not by accident. You didn't trip and fall into some pussy, man. Cut it out. Like, stop. Yeah. You mean to tell me that you conveniently fell into some wet pussy, man? Come on. Yeah. Stop it. Oh, man. Yeah. I think you got anything else to offer on this topic, Keith?
I just think that Adrian Broner need to get some help.
He does.
Hopefully somebody around him can get him into some sort of rehab or something like that, because walking around like that during the day is just not a good look.
Day drinking is one of the biggest telltale signs that you're an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. Bro, I swear to you, bro, no lie. Last Friday, I was headed to work, and it was probably, I got up, it was probably about 4:40 in the morning, like 4:30, 4:40 a.m. And I was going to my mailbox, and I seen one of my neighbors, and he had a Michelob Ultra and cigarettes. He was smoking a cigarette, and he had a beer. And I was like, damn, Michelob for breakfast, huh? He's like, yeah.
He just laughed.
I'm like, nigga, what's going on in your life where you need a Michelob at 4 a.m, dude?
Yeah. Sometimes, people drink to kind of get over the hangover type situation.
Man, you drinking to get over a hangover, you sick. You got problems, bro. And it was a tall can too. It wasn't no regular bottle.
Yeah.
He had a fucking Michelob tall can.
Yeah.
For breakfast.
That's crazy.
If you're starting your day with a tall can, you are absolutely an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh man. And he had his work clothes on too.
Like he was going to work or
like he was
off?
he was out in the parking lot. Like he was outside in his parking spot, and his car was on. I guess he was warming it up. I don't know. And he was smoking a cigarette, and he had a cold beer just sitting on his hood.
Nah, you can't be doing that.
I was like, oh my God.
Knocking back a beer before work is crazy.
Yeah, but maybe that beer like you said though, because people that drink a lot of alcohol, they said that I guess that morning beer will knock the hangover. Mm-hmm. But what it is though is I don't even think it's that. I think that you've drinking so much and you have such a high tolerance for alcohol that alcohol can become its own medicine. Mm-hmm. There was this dude, and I don't want to drag this on. There was this dude that was on TikTok, and he said, "Hey, young people, do not drink alcohol. Please stop drinking alcohol so you're not like me." He said, "Right now I'm in Vegas. I'm over here at this place right here, and I haven't had a drink from this time to this time. My hands are very shaky, as you can see. My voice is trembling because I'm getting sick. I have a reliance on alcohol, and until I get another drink, I'm going to feel very sick." And he said, "I could die like this."
Yeah.
So he went over to this bar, and he said he ordered 3 shots. Mm-hmm. And he used his hands, and even when he had the shot of alcohol in his hands were shaking while he had the shot. He almost spilled most of the fucking shot out of his hand. Mm-hmm. So then he slams the first shot. Then he slams the second shot. Then he slams the third shot, and he's like, I'm back. Mm-hmm. And his hands weren't shaking. He was talking normal, and he wasn't sick. I said, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Alcohol might be the most sinister thing out there.
Yeah. Might be.
Yeah, it's bad. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, too, and I'll say this, too. I keep running my mouth. God damn it. Anyways, what's bad about alcohol is you can't just reverse the effects of it. If you've been drinking for X amount of time and you stop drinking, there's still no guarantee that it won't fuck you up in the next 5 to 8 years. Mm-hmm. Alcohol is still doing its job on you after you stop drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So any of you guys that are in your 30s, if you have drinks maybe 1 or 2 on the weekend, you're fine. You're going to be perfectly fine. But if you're drinking 4 or 5 times a week, you got problems. Mm-hmm. You need to cut that shit out. That ain't normal. Mm-hmm. Especially those guys that get done with work and then they all hang out after work drinking. Man, go to your family.
Yeah, your son is waiting for you to throw the football around.
Go pick up your son. Go throw a football. Go to your wife. Mm-hmm. Like, look, I'm not trying to accuse nobody of being gay. I'm not going to do any of that. But, like, I can't imagine after work, like, meeting up with dudes and drinking alcohol after work before I go home. Like, I just don't get it. My kid's at home. My wife is home. Mm-hmm. It's my family. My wife is pussy at home, food and dinner, and I'm hanging out with dudes? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. Nope. Anyways, let's switch gears.
All right.
Switching gears, Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel just got pulled off the air. Let me pull this.
I want to speak about Jimmy Kimmel because he has been pulled off.
We hit some new low. Wait, that was Candace Owens. I wasn't expecting that to pop up. We might have to slide to that one after this one. Okay. Well, here's the joke that Jimmy Kimmel told, and it was in reference to after the shooting of Charlie Kirk. He spoke about the president and how the president reacted. So this is the joke that got him pulled off air.
Over the weekend, with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House.
Yes, okay. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay? We hit some new lows.
And that's the joke that got him pulled off the air. I don't think that joke was about Charlie Kirk at all. I think it was a response to the lack of emotion towards his death. He's like, yeah, but look at the construction around here. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's actually crazy, and he got pulled off. But here's that slide that popped up with freaking Candace Owens. See what she's saying.
I want to speak about Jimmy Kimmel because he has been pulled off air indefinitely over his comments in the aftermath of Charlie's assassination. So let's take a listen to what Jimmy Kimmel said on his show.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. Okay. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish.
Okay, so that's what he said. Whether or not you think it was a insensitive joke, okay, I don't think that would have been the justification for saying that he now needs to donate to charity and lose his whole life. And this is what happened. He's taken off air, and some people are saying, hey, Candace, they did this to us. And you're not wrong, right? If you are on the right and you are saying that when the whole George Floyd thing happened, people lost their jobs for saying sensible things or making a joke, you are correct. Like, you are right to say, yes, that absolutely did happen. But if you're not recognizing that when you just flip the coin, it's the same people that are gaining more power, I just want the attacks on free speech to stop, okay? I want the reaction, if you're angry about what Jimmy Kimmel said, is for the free markets to take him out, right? He doesn't have a show because nobody's watching him anymore because they're so disgusted by what he said. That's what I want. I want us to be in control.
All right. Well, Candace Owens is actually making sense. That's kind of scary. But yeah, and then there was that asshole, what's his name? Brian, the head guy at ABC. God dang it, what's his name? The bald head guy. He looks like he's like Mr. Potato Head.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the guy. Here he is. Brendan Carr. So Brendan Carr, the FCC chair, helped take down Jimmy Kimmel with his words. And in quote, he says...
Not ABC, FCC.
FCC, yeah, right here. FCC chair.
Yeah, you said ABC.
Oh, yeah, my bad. All right. Yeah, well, he just thought it was insensitive. But I think this could have been an excuse to take him down. But ultimately, when you start to patrol free speech that much, it's dangerous. And the reason why I think it's important for us to have this conversation is because they can look at our transcripts as podcasters and shut us down. Mm-hmm. Like, they can look at the transcripts and decipher between, have we said anything that's been insensitive to the current administration? Have we said anything that can be insensitive to Charlie Kirk? And they can take our podcast and take them down. Like, technically, we are broadcasters. Like, we are media, technically. Mm-hmm. And this affects not just Jimmy Kimmel, but guys like me and Keith who've been podcasting for nearly 8 years. Mm-hmm. So this is important. I don't want these motherfuckers. The moment that they start to police free speech is when podcasting dies. That's when it's dead. You guys won't be able to listen to people like us. You'll be listening to robots that are liberals and conservatives. In fact, it might get to the point where AI just starts doing podcasts. That's how bad it can get.
I think this situation is a little different though, because the FCC is a federally governed thing, right? So that person is saying their opinion. I forget the federal. Let me see.
Yeah, I think they had some beef with Eminem too back in the day.
The Federal Communications Commission, right? So the Federal Communications is the people that handle any sort of like communications, whether it's radio ratings and censoring, hate speech on the radio, things like that. We're talking about the parental advisory stickers on CDs back in the day with Snoop Dogg and Eminem and all these people. Even when it comes to movies and things like that. That's kind of what they handle, but they handle it from the first word is federal. The first letter in the acronym is F. So that means that's a government entity that is coming down on somebody for this sort of thing. So that's the conversation around like the freedom of speech. I don't think that person should be able to do that. And only from my opinion, right? Because they do have Sorry, I need some water. I don't know what's going on here.
Oh man, thirsty ass nigga. Go ahead. Damn.
They do have the
that was a loud gulp, man.
They have their job is to do this, right? Their job is to put censorship on CDs so that a 10-year-old won't turn on Eminem's album and hear like curse words and things like that. So I think that's their job. But I'm only saying, like, in my opinion, what Jimmy Kimmel said was a really good joke. Like, and that's all it was. I don't even think there was a bias towards it. I think that a conservative could have made that joke. And I don't even know what political party. I'm sure, Jimmy Kimmel's, he's in Hollywood and whatnot.
Lean more left, yeah.
Yeah, but I just think that in particular is a joke that even like a guy like Schultz who voted for Donald Trump, I feel like he could come up with something like that. Like, dang, this dude didn't even actually grieve. Like, he just basically dismissed the question and talked about a ballroom that they're building.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's the joke right there.
Yeah.
It just so happened that, that they asked him about Charlie Kirk. So, I don't know. I think it's kind of lame. I think what ended up happening is the pressure from ABC and Disney and, everybody over there. I think that they seen the pressure online and people calling that insensitive and things like that. And therefore, the pressure came down on Jimmy Kimmel and they just kind of pulled him from the air. And this has been happening across the board. Even the guy that said Jimmy Kimmel was divisive, he got stripped from his job at MSNBC. So I believe that it's definitely an attack on free speech. But I think the bigger conversation is that it's all about ownership at the end of the day. Like, the people that own the things get to make these decisions because ABC and Disney they're privately owned companies, right? So we don't really have a say-so in who's they're publicly traded, but somebody owns these companies, and Bob Iger is the CEO of Disney. So he, at the end of the day, is the person that's probably pulling the trigger on a lot of these moves. And so it's a different conversation when it comes to like free speech, because if it's the same conversation here, if we had somebody, maybe we have a Trucker's Mind podcast, entertainment or whatever, and we have like 4 or 5 different podcasts under us. If we get on here and then there's somebody that says something like insensitive, maybe they say something insensitive, like a joke about one of our dead relatives or something like that, we have the right to pull them off the air because we own this podcasting company. So it's the same thing with them. I just think it just looks a little different because ABC is so huge. It's just a huge conglomerate that we don't really look at it in that way. But at the end of the day, it's somebody that owns a business and they didn't like what somebody says, or they felt too much pressure from what somebody says, and then they just pulled it from there. They pulled it from the air. And I don't like it, but that's just what it is.
Yeah. Also, like, the FCC's been around for a minute having these issues. Like what I mentioned, Eminem says this is talking about referencing the early 2000s. Refers to the controversy in the early 2000s when the Federal Communications Commission fined radio stations for playing The Real Slim Shady and other Eminem songs deemed indecent, leading to Eminem referencing the FCC's attempts to censor him in the 2002 song Without Me. When he's like, so the FCC won't let me be me or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And he's like, the initial fine against KKMG FM was later reversed due to appeals from broadcasters and free speech advocates who argued that the FCC singled out the station for playing an edited version of the song that hundreds of other stations also aired without incident. Mm-hmm. But it's crazy. Some of the songs that have existed, like, I think it's kind of, I don't want to say subjective, but it's kind of weird at what we will say is indecent and what's not. Mm-hmm. Like, you listen to older songs, you're like, whoa, I didn't even realize what I was singing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, what's that one song? Oh, my God. Oh, my goodness. When you listen, you're making it hard for me.
Oh, yeah.
What's that song called?
Step back, you standing real close. I don't know the lyrics, but I know what you're talking about.
That song,
he basically said he getting an erection from dancing on her.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. And then she warns him, step back, you're taking a little close. Feel a little poke coming through on you. Like she's literally referencing, telling him to step back because your hard dick is on in the song. And we like young kids, like, oh, I love this song.
Yeah.
Baby, no more crying. I get so excited. And we like, ooh, how I like it. Try, but I can't fight it. That sounds perverted.
Real close.
Yeah.
You're making it hard for me.
Yeah, that's super perverted. And then Rick James had a song where he's like, she's only 17 years old.
We wouldn't dance to that, though.
Huh?
So we wouldn't dance to that.
Shit, we were little kids, dude. We probably weren't even, we were probably barely around. Well, you wasn't here. I know I was probably here. This shit is wild.
That's crazy.
Rick James, 17. Okay, here it is. Hold on. It says, and this is wild. A little girl came up to me acting young and shy, a look of curiosity flashing in her eyes. She said she had seen my face and thought she knew me well. And this is go to the hook. She was only 17, but she was sexy. Rick James, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
It goes on and on. There's so much inappropriate shit. But this is what I will say in regards to them taking Jimmy Kimmel down and whatnot. Look, the left is very sensitive, and there's a lot of hypocrisy on the left. But on the right complained about the left calling them snowflakes. Ain't no bigger snowflakes than the conservatives right now. They are the biggest fucking snowflakes on the planet. Just last week, you niggas was on Fox News talking about what Brian Kill made, saying that he wanted to do involuntary lethal injection on homeless people. And then literally within a couple of days, a homeless camp got shot up. Like, your messaging is fucked up. But it's crazy how you care about messaging all of a sudden. That's a little hypocritical. Let me read the article of the homeless people that got shot. Over a dozen injured in Minneapolis shooting at homeless camp and near transit station. The shootings come during a particular violent summer for the Minneapolis area, including the gunning down of lawmaker and her husband and a deadly mass shooting in a Catholic school. And it says 8 people were wounded, including 4 critical injuries in a shooting at a homeless camp on private property in Minneapolis. Said the shooting happened just hours after the blocks away from another shooting that had injured near transit station, as city officials acknowledged a spate of recent violent crime in that area. But it's like, homeless people just homeless. They're not hurting nobody. Mm-hmm. So who would target somebody like that? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that he said that so casually, like, just kill him. Just kill him. Mm-hmm. You know, involuntary lethal injection. It's like, bro, these are humans you're talking about. And for people to be so pro-life, you real quick on talk about killing niggas.
Yeah, right.
How you pro-life, but you anti-homeless, kill them? Like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
That's beyond hypocritical. Mm-hmm. Also, too, when people call themselves Christians, I don't care what comes out of their mouth. I pay attention to their actions. Mm-hmm. Like, your actions are, you're pro-life, you want to bring children into this world, all of this, right? But then you don't mind devaluing a life at the same time. Mm-hmm. Can you make it make sense? Like the amount of death that's happening around the world that people tend to care, like they just don't care about, whether it's in Gaza or it's in the streets of the United States where homeless people getting shot or just dying from being homeless. Like people can die from homelessness. That's what people don't understand. When you're sleeping outside in the elements and you're getting infections and all kinds of shit, like people just walk by you. They don't even care. They just need, like, and the thing about it is some of these homeless people, they fought in Desert Storm. They fought in Vietnam. They were in the military for years, but they become mentally unwell. And this is what's happening. But I just think before you can speak about caring about messaging, especially right-wing people, and it's been other people losing their jobs over statements about Charlie Kirk. They've been getting fired.
Yeah.
And it's like, dog, before y'all can care about messaging, you need to watch your mouth first. Like, watch your mouth first, because it was a lot of Breonna Taylor memes and George Floyd memes. And after he had been dead for 5 years, somebody said, congratulations, George Floyd.
I don't even want to conflate all of those things, though.
I have to.
They're not the same. Like, Jimmy Kimmel told a joke about the lack of empathy Donald Trump had for somebody who he called his friend. Making a meme about George Floyd dying or, Breonna Taylor dying or any of these people, it's not, I don't want to conflate those things because then people will start to think that those are the same, like it's the same conversation.
It's not the same thing.
It's not the same
thing, but there's the people that are on the right that are creating these expectations when in actuality, you can't have this moral high ground when you was doing this. Like when you was cracking these jokes on people and being insensitive to their death, you want to all of a sudden have this, moral code all of a sudden because of Charlie Kirk. You can't do it. That's why I'm bringing it all up. It's not to conflate it. It's to paint a full picture of, what people on the right are saying. We've already seen on the left, because on the left, there was a time where they was deplatforming people. They was taking their Twitter away and shit. They was taking away their Instagram. So I've seen it on the left. So we're not going to cap and sit here and act like the left wasn't doing that shit. But on the right, you called them snowflakes and look what y'all doing.
Yeah. I agree. I think that I think some people do deserve to lose their platform. I just don't think that Jimmy Kimmel deserved. I think if you're making fun of George Floyd, it's different than making a joke about the lack of empathy from Donald Trump. So I'm personally okay with some people losing a platform if you're spreading misinformation and you're talking disparagingly about somebody that is deceased, or if you're just lying, which are things that don't necessarily fall under freedom of speech. I'm okay with that. So I'm not standing here acting like everybody should have the right to say whatever they want to.
Yeah.
I think it's up to the discretion of, the people in charge, which is like the FCC in this case. And I think that people kind of get it misconstrued. Like, freedom of speech don't mean that you can just say anything.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech was
not freedom of consequences.
That was created for, journalism and stuff like that, and at the genesis of our country, so that it's not like other countries where if you write an article saying something bad about the president, or saying something that I want to say bad, something that the president or the government doesn't like, that they can just throw you in jail. It wasn't created so you can just say anything or, whatever. There's guidelines, or, if you go into a theater and you say certain things, or if you're on an airplane and you shout certain things, like you can get thrown in jail for those things. So freedom of speech don't just mean just say anything. Freedom of speech is a thing that's created for to protect a certain aspect of communication. Yeah. So with that being said, if you say something like terrible about somebody that lies, or that's why they have lawsuits and stuff like that, because you don't have the freedom to say anything. Like when you see people getting sued for saying, like Meg Thee Stallion is in a lawsuit for with I forget her name, the girl from Houston. She's in a lawsuit right now, and it's not freedom of speech because she's probably going to have to pay a handsome, check to Meg Thee Stallion for some of the stuff that she was saying about her.
Yeah, that happened with Cardi B. I think Tasha K had to pay her.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing, though.
50 Cent as well. He had to pay, I forgot who it was, the singer. But yeah.
Oh, well, here's the thing. We could talk about, you can't just say anything or whatever, but it's kind of difficult to hear that because when you grew up in the 90s, you remember the National Enquirer. Remember that book? You go into the store and there be some lie like, you know, Hillary Clinton got a BBL or some shit like that. You like, dang. And people was buying those magazines.
Yeah.
There was a bunch. I'm pretty sure there was a disclaimer somewhere in that magazine, but the National Enquirer was literally falsehoods. Like all those stories were false.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm sure they did something to protect themselves. Like you said, maybe a little fine print on there or something like that did that. But yeah,
I don't think
or they might have just had a bunch of lawsuits and it was just.
do they still sell those magazines?
I haven't seen one.
I haven't seen one.
No.
I think they clamped down on it. They probably got tired of it.
Yeah.
You know, Bill Clinton was like, I do not have a black son. You know that supposedly there's this black guy running around saying that Bill Clinton is his dad.
Man.
But he looks like Bill, man. I swear to God. Bill Clinton has
There's a lot of kids. Jay-Z got a kid out there. Everybody got a kid out there.
This nigga looked like black Bill Clinton, though. And when he started talking, he was like, my father did not have any type of relationship with me. When I grew up, my dad, I felt in my heart that he was the president of the United States. And what's weird about Bill is he used to do that thing with his hand with no pen in his hand. Like he had like no pencil, but he was like wagging his finger like he had a pencil in his hand.
Yeah.
I don't know where the fuck that came from.
Yeah.
Maybe some old political strategy. Let me look. Bill Clinton's black son. All right, let me look it up. Okay. Danny Williams, an Arkansas man born in 1985, he's my age, claims to be the biological son of former President Bill Clinton. While Williams and his mother have repeatedly pushed for this allegation paternity test, and investigative reports have debunked the claim. This motherfucker looks like Bill. Like, if you guys get a chance, just look up Bill Clinton's black son. He looks like Bill.
Yeah.
Like, here we go. Here's his son right here. Look at that. You can't tell me that's not his fucking son.
It's not his son, man.
That looks like Bill, man.
It's not his son, though. I can see it.
I can't say it. Look, it just looks like Bill.
Yeah.
It looks if Bill. It looks like a mixture of Steph Curry and Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, that's crazy. Anyways, all right. Shout out to Bill's black son. All right, let's move forward. I don't think I have much else to offer on this conversation.
I will say I hope Jimmy Kimmel is somewhere. I hope he gets his get back. That's what I hope. I hope that I don't know if he needs some lawyers or whatever the case may be, to, you know, I don't know if he needs to sue, whatever, countersuit, whatever, for the damages that he received from this joke. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, he's a comedian. His background is a comedian. So I think that, and I think it also looks bad on Disney when you have, when you're only making decisions based off of backlash. Right. I think that's a little lame to me. And I don't like that. I don't like when companies, like, you may not feel a way about it, but you're only, pulling something off the air because of the pressure and things like that. I like businesses being proactive. I don't like businesses being reactionary. Because there's always going to be something. There's always going to be somebody that doesn't like a certain thing. But I think it also says too, you just got to be careful what you say if you have a job. I think that's the biggest lesson in this, because when you're a guy like Joe Budden, or you have your own podcast network, or you have your own, like Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk said a lot of things about George Floyd and all that, but he runs his own, or he ran his own thing, right? So who's going to fire him? Nobody. Same thing with Joe Budden. He could say whatever he wants to. Obviously, there's going to be backlash, and maybe sponsorships will get, pulled from the platform. But when you have your own business and you run everything, and you don't have a boss that's some, conservative or some liberal or whatever, you can kind of say whatever you want to. Obviously, you don't want to just go out there and just talk reckless about people. But at the end of the day, like, that's the only true way to kind of move out here without having to kind of like be super mindful of what you're saying. So.
Only thing is, I wish we lived in a world where we could fight free speech with more free speech. But I think what's happening now is you use free speech, then the other person uses free speech. But depending on who is controlling the narrative, that is the person's speech. That is the person who their speech is going to mean more than yours. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that makes any sense. Mm-mm. But in this case, it's, if you look at what Charlie Kirk, his whole messaging was, using his free speech and inviting people to his platform to use it. Then he dies. And if you say anything about Charlie, you're losing your job now. So it's like his free speech or the complimentary free speech about Charlie Kirk means more than people who didn't like him now.
Okay.
That's what's really going on, if we're being honest about it. So, yeah. But there's that, man. Because he was claiming that George Floyd died from a drug overdose and not from being choked out.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, the freedom of speech doesn't account for lies. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you can't protect something that's not part of what the government is protecting.
Yeah, well, the government has proven themselves to be corrupt many times. That's where the problem is, though, is the fact that the holders of truth and the holders of information, or what's considered, free speech or what's not, those people, they're not. That's not always a reliable source of, especially with this administration. Because it also showed, I guess, Trump was trying to look into like broadcasting or something, like basically being able to remove people from X and Y. I got to find the article, but I think we're speaking a little too much about this at this point. I think we both got off what we need to get off. No homo. But pause. What did the Dame say? Pause.
Yeah.
All right. So let's switch gears.
Dame Dash had like he had a pre-pause.
Yeah.
He was pausing before he even got his statement out.
He's like, first of all, pause. I love y'all. Like, y'all do a great job. It's like, that's not even a pause-worthy thing. He's like, pause. Like, your shoes look fire. Like, your shoes is mad fire. Them Jordans, I can't find them nowhere, man. It's like, it's not gay to give another man a compliment, man. Come on.
Yeah.
We got to be a little more secure, guys. All right. Dame Dash, she went to the Breakfast Club recently, and there's a lot of clippable moments. But I think this is the story of having enough emotional maturity to go, when you go onto a platform, to make sure you respect it. And also, just when you can't try to disarm people and control a whole conversation or narrative by you yelling, talking loud, and demeaning people. That's not power. That's not masculine either. That is actually very weak. And Dame Dash went on Breakfast Club, and I'll just give you a few clips here just to give you an idea of what he was saying. Let me see here. Hold on.
You guys look at my Instagram. I've been editing for 6 months. Stupid.
I don't believe you.
Because you're dumb. How would you know? You're in this coffin every day, Count Dumbula.
I want to wear your suit in my coffin.
But I'm talking to you about. Wait. How should I know? I never heard of these.
So when we ask the question,
Yo, I'm talking to him now. See what you're doing? Girls do that. Let me say this. You acting like a girl.
You move like an old auntie. You an old Harlem auntie.
I could punch you right in your face like a grown man. I won't.
And then we
and you won't do shit.
See, Dame, this is with the Chatty Patty. So just so you know, because I knew you was going to say
nah,
that.
I've seen you run.
Yes.
I've seen you. I'm not saying I will. I'm saying no. Then your version of respectful is different than mine. We were on the street right now and you were talking like that. I would have fucked you up. But I'm not going to do that. Nah, I wouldn't have got beat up.
But
I wouldn't have got beat up. Let's end this. So let me say one more thing before I leave.
I have so many questions.
All right. Oh, you're right.
How you want to leave? You can't get in your emotions and want to leave, Dame.
No, what I'm saying is when you interrupt me and you say certain things, where I'm from, the masculine man will fuck you up.
Yeah.
But because let me finish. No, I didn't. I said
not gonna happen.
I didn't say I said I could, and you wouldn't do anything.
And we gonna fight.
I didn't see that on tape. You ran.
Yeah, there was 4 guys, but that's cool.
Wait. Ask what happened when 30 guys jumped me.
Respect.
I got that ass whipping, but I fucked them niggas up.
I think it's been some head trauma ever since.
Yeah. Hey, yo, pause. Come on, man.
Okay, so that's one clip.
I think it's Charlamagne caught him. He caught him dead dad.
Yeah.
Hey, so you know that?
Just because I don't mind showing my flaws. See, you guys hide your flaws. You hide your homosexuality. I don't hide. I'm transparent.
You hide your brokenness.
No, I didn't. Wait a second. When I will show you. Google me saying I've been saying I'm broke for years. Name one interview.
Why can't I say I'm broke?
But you should say you're a homosexual. And then the world will know how homosexuals see things. Can we have a deal? Just because I don't.
So this is what he was doing. He was going on there calling Charlamagne gay, and he was telling them they don't know business. He was also telling them, because they mentioned him filing for bankruptcy. I think it was Chapter 7 he filed. and they were, they mentioned it. They weren't like trying to demean him, but this is like literally what happened. After the fact, he mentioned like the president. He's like, the president filed for bankruptcy X amount of times, and he's a president. Stupid. It don't matter. It don't matter what you're doing. You can file for bankruptcy. It's just a business move, but you wouldn't know about business. Y'all don't know about business. And then he was basically alluding to the fact that they're broke. And he's like, how big is your house? I guarantee you my house is bigger than yours. I guarantee I got a better view than y'all. And it's like, you're trying to use material things to determine, like, as a metric for where somebody should be. And I thought that was so childish, especially him being Dame Dash. He's been in the industry for many, many years. And the sad part about it is having nice things does not equate to success. You know how many motherfuckers are struggling and they got nice cars, they got a nice house, and they are in debt up to their eyeballs? I'd rather be Eddie McGee. I know this is going to sound a little funny to people, but I'd rather be Eddie McGee than Dame Dash. Dame Dash sounds like he has a bunch of like burned bridges. I mean, his teeth fell out. So this guy is on the breakfast. I guess he fixed his teeth now. So, I don't want to talk about that, but it's kind of hard for you to have this. You have this demeanor and this boss attitude, and your teeth fell out on a live stream. Like, how can you talk about what somebody's doing and your fucking dentures fell out, man? You used to be with Jay-Z, bro. Yeah, you and Jay-Z used to work as a collaborative, and now you by yourself with your teeth falling out, calling other people like broke. Mm-hmm. That in itself, and I'll say this before I pass the mic to Keith. The way you behave and who you are is almost like a credit score. You can invest, and also you can invest money. You can invest in people without using money, by kindness. Being an open ear when people need you, being respectful. Things like that. But with Dame Dash, look at how disrespectful he's being. Mm-hmm. Look at how loud he's being. Look how nasty he's being. I'd rather have a life score of 850 and an actual credit score of 300. You could fix your credit, but you can't fix your reputation. Once you fuck it up, you become Dame Dash. That's who you become. It will take Dame Dash another 20 years to fix his reputation. That's the sad thing, man. Mm-hmm. So I would tell people to listen to the podcast. You need to be very, very aware and hyper vigilant of how you're treating people, what you're saying, and how you show up for people. You never go to somebody's platform and just disrespect them and call them gay. And then when you leave that platform, which is one of the biggest ones, the Breakfast Club is one of the biggest platforms, period. So you go to a platform like that, calling people gay and cutting them off when they talk, and you expect to still do business? You got to be an idiot. You got to be an idiot. Then he started off the podcast. Hey, yo, this is was it his assistant or his artist? The girl he called up there.
His artist.
He had an artist and he called her, oh yeah, this is lesbian, white lesbian Aaliyah right here. She a white lesbian. That's how you start off the fucking interview, you idiot? Mm-hmm. You got to be stupid. Yeah. You got to be stupid. Then he said, you a girl. You act like a girl. Clean this up. Bro, there are multiple women in that studio that are professionals, and you're speaking about women in a reductive tone. That's bad for business too. If I was thinking about doing business with somebody and I seen them blatantly disrespecting women, like unsolicited, I'm not doing business with this motherfucker. Why would I do business with a guy that could get my business shut down by how he reacts to women, calling them white lesbians? Like, get the fuck out of here. That's just ignorant.
Yeah, I would say like a guy like Charlemagne, and I think that platform in general, a lot of times they're kind of like walking circles around people. Mm-hmm. So Dame Dash, like they don't realize it's all content, right? When he gets on, especially with Charlemagne, like the camera is always rolling. When you got guys like Birdman, when they come in there and they got all that energy and they got all these goons around them, they don't realize that this is like the Truman Show. Like the camera is always on, the mics are always hot, and this is going to turn into content. And for 9 times out of 10, ain't nobody going to put their hands on him or anybody in there. So it's just going to be content and, maybe a little bit of arguing or back and forth, and then that's the end of it. And then they're going to post it on YouTube, and every podcaster in the world is going to talk about it. And then that's just going to influence more people to go find the clips or go watch the full interview or whatever the case may be. And then they're going to have a reaction. They had a reaction to the Dame Dash interview. Like they are the people that had the interview, and they're having a reaction to the interview. So, and then they came back 3-4 days in a row with more content. Lauren LaRosa was, reporting on whether certain things were true that he said and things like that. And then him and Cameron went back and forth, and she's reporting on that. So it's just like a pool that you can just continually eat from. So that's what I would say. I think Charlamagne is a very intuitive person, and it takes advantage of a lot of these opportunities. And they think they just going up there talking about their album or talking about the latest thing that they got going on. But in reality, he's like using you as content. And the thing about it is, like, Charlamagne had he knew he had, like an ace in the hole, because I imagine that interview went where Charlamagne knew certain things. Like, he probably talked to some people at Revolt.
Absolutely.
Because they have a relationship with Revolt. And
Absolutely.
he obviously has Lauren LaRosa there, who's, kind of, I think she's a real journalist. She does her due diligence when it comes to, getting interviews and things like that, or asking questions to people and getting some behind the scenes information. And he knew that Dame Dash is probably really broke, and he's going up there and he's bragging about this and, talking about, and he said it himself. He's like, dude, you always got a response to everything. Like, you got a rebuttal to every accusation, like, you filed for bankruptcy. Oh, I did that because this dude, Chris Brown, kept suing me and he was blocking me using my finances and this. And, I was going to sell this, and I'm on the chair of Revolt, and I'm about to be Cameron's boss, and all these things. And he's like, these are things that could be checked and fact checked. But for whatever reason, I think Dame Dash is a person who, I think there's a lot of people that just lose their steam. Dame Dash is a person that was like cool in high school. You know what I mean? Like he was a star athlete in high school, and now we 15, 20 years removed from high school, and we graduated, we got jobs, we got families, we got our kids is in high school now, and he is still trying to live up to the glory days. Like, I know a lot of people like him that's always like, they're always chasing chicken. Like, they're always trying to find the next business venture. They're always trying to, finesse their way, and not in a bad way. I think his businesses are legit, but I'm just saying, like, he's always trying to finesse his way into like the next bag, whether that's like a music artist that he got or the cookies he brought when he went on there the first time. And he says all these things, and he's like says disparaging things about people that have jobs, when in reality, probably half of the people in that room are making more money than he is.
Absolutely, especially Charlamagne and DJ Envy.
And initially, I think honestly, when I was first, when he came on there the first time, not that I thought like his messaging was like great, but I kind of understood it.
Yeah, the first time.
I understood it in a way where, because we talked about it. I understood it in a way where I was like, yo, I think we do need to own more things. And not that I would talk bad about somebody that had a job, but I think we do need to own stuff. But then at the same time, you do need resources to own stuff sometimes, or whether you got to work a job so that you can invest in your own business or whatever and grow it. And then, ideally you would be able to retire from your job and then do the thing full time, or just have both, which is both great.
Yeah.
But, so I was rocking with him the first time, but then you start to see like the person that's sending the messages, they not really getting to it in the way that they're kind of talking about it. Right. And you're hearing all these messages, and then you're filing for bankruptcy, and I know people personally that has worked for Dame Dash, and they talked about not getting paid on time and things like that.
Sexual harassment.
Yeah. So
all that shit.
Yeah. So these are the things that are like people are saying about him. And I think, the more and more these things go on, the more and more it starts to look like Jay-Z made the right move
to get away from him.
Kind of going on. Now Jay-Z is up. He like $3 billion, $3 billion up. And, it's like, When you start to see like all that stuff behind the scenes with Dame Dash is yelling at executives and yelling at people at the label, and now you see Jay-Z, he selling businesses, and the nigga got dreads now. His wife is a billionaire as well. They got kids. It's like he just looked like like I'm glad I got away from this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think too is like the what they could have said about Dame Dash if they chose not to say. Charlamagne could have said, "I'm a better employee than you are an entrepreneur," and that's the truth.
Yeah.
Like, the truth of the matter is, if you're ragging on me, and let me be clear, ain't nothing wrong with having a job. He said, you come here every day at 4:30 in the morning. You hate your life. Look at this place. It's a coffin. It's a coffin.
Yeah.
Charlamagne is at the top of a podcast network. Shout out to the Black Effect. He has a new comic book that's coming out called Illuminati.
Yeah, I mean, it's already out, though.
Oh, it's already out? Okay, that. Then also, he has a book in print with Simon & Schuster. Like, this guy is doing a lot. For you to sit there and say he's broke, he doesn't have anything, means, okay, you're a businessman, right? And you said that the Breakfast Club needs to get their research right. How didn't you know that? Why am I a podcaster and I know that, and you're a businessman and you don't? Explain that to me. If I'm talking to Charlamagne, me and him can have an across-the-table conversation better than him and Dame Dash. Because Dame Dash is just over here shouting things at him. You don't really even know what Charlamagne does. And then DJ Envy. DJ Envy has been wildly successful. He has these huge car shows. Everybody knows that DJ Envy is loaded.
Right.
And he still DJs. And I'm sure he's not getting chump change for that either.
Yeah.
So it's like, bro, people gotta, I don't know, bro.
I think the conversation around ownership, it should be a little different. Even at a point, Jay-Z was the president of Def Jam, I believe.
Yeah.
So he had a job,
But here's the thing. Just because you work a job does not mean you don't own stuff. So, for example, Keith had beforehand and still has one, like an e-commerce business. If you chose to pick that back up, that's what you can do, right? Same with me.
Machine.
Huh?
Vending machine.
Yeah, you still, thank you. You got, what, 2 or 3 vending machines?
Oh, I got one right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're still working on it.
Okay. Well, that's the point. You outright own these things. So you can have a job and still be an entrepreneur. People are like, Dame Dash speaks in such a matter of fact.
Yeah.
But it's like, bro, there are people out here who are better employees than you are an entrepreneur because they work a job because that's their bread and butter, but they probably got 14 vending machines. Or they work a job to supplement the income, but they also have a laundromat that they run with their wife or husband. Like, I've seen people literally have this. There's this truck driver that I met, and he's from Guatemala. He owns 2 homes in Guatemala and 2 in Bakersfield, and he only works 5 months a year.
Oh, yeah, you're telling me.
Yeah, he only works 5 months a year, and he takes the money that he earns so he can just go on vacations with his wife. So you mean to tell me that a guy like that is not successful in his own right?
Yeah.
This motherfucker owns 4 houses. He only works 5 months out the year. He goes back to Guatemala and he watches Lakers and Dodger games. That's what he does. And you mean to tell me that you're going to shame an employee for that?
Yeah.
That's just
it
ignorant.
doesn't, I mean, that conversation is stupid.
Yeah.
Like I said, the person that he started Rockefeller with works for the NFL. Like I said, he was working at Def Jam. He, a couple other, I think he's the chairman at Square now, or he got some type of relationship. So he probably has a handful of positions where he's not the owner of it, but he has a lot of leverage in that business. So yeah, it doesn't make sense, dog. I think that conversation is kind of dead now. Even we talked about Bob Iger earlier. He's not the owner of Disney. He's just the CEO of Disney, and I'm sure he gets paid handsomely to run that. It's only going to be so many owners. The rest of us are going to have to get a job, and somebody's going to write our check. But at the same time, like, you can leverage that money, same way that Charlamagne does and DJ Envy. Even Jess Hilarious, she was doing the social media stuff. That's essentially her own business.
Absolutely.
So,
and she's a stand-up comedian. Like, Jess Hilarious is loaded. She's getting paid. Like, all these, you can't get up there and disrespect people that are better employees. I'm going to say this again. You can't get up on someone's platform and disrespect people who are better employees than you are a entrepreneur. That's just what it is. Because there's people like what's the Earn Your Leisure? Like those are guys that are hardcore entrepreneurs.
Right.
Those are guys that seem to be doing things the right way.
Right.
And I think he had mentioned Dame Dash. He said we got a lot of inspiration from things like that, but we also can see the drawback of where it's going left.
For sure, we can be inspired by somebody, especially the communication, and then once we kind of get at a parallel space, or once we start seeing these people eye to eye, then you can start seeing like where we wouldn't move like them, or how we could move a little bit different, just so we don't ruffle so many feathers.
Not to mention, like even us, we both. You're a teacher, obviously. I'm a truck driver. Mm-hmm. We've been doing this podcast for 7 years and 5 months now. Okay, so that's an investment. We haven't made a whole bunch of money, but the thing about it is even with this platform, man, what it can become is very lucrative. Mm-hmm. So who knows? By year 8, right? All of a sudden, things start happening. We start making serious money to the point to where we pretty much leave our original jobs.
Right.
But it was an investment that took nearly 8 years for that to happen. Mm-hmm. So while you cracking jokes on us, like y'all podcasters, man, y'all trash. Y'all ain't getting no money. Y'all ain't getting no money. Y'all ain't doing nothing.
You don't own nothing, stupid.
You don't own nothing. You don't own nothing. While your teeth falling out. You don't own nothing. Then all of a sudden, a couple months later, he's like, I see y'all with your podcast grind, man. I want to come on there. I want to come on there and tell y'all about business. I'm like, no, nigga, stay over there with your teeth out.
Nah. What's Dame Dash's favorite candy?
Ooh, boy, you about to get me. Okay, what's his favorite candy? Mm-hmm. Jawbreakers.
Gummy bears.
That was so obvious, I fucking blew it. God damn it. Oh, man. Oh, that was a good one. Oh, man.
What's Dame Dash's favorite type of Nah, this is gonna be bad.
It's a little too dark?
No, it wasn't gonna be. I just couldn't formulate it well enough. I was gonna say like gum bottoms, like the shoes. Yeah, but I couldn't formulate it well enough.
I think that Charlamagne's not the guy you want to fuck with though. When it comes to like being quick witted, or like telling a joke that's hilarious within like a second. That's not the guy you want to play with.
He's sharp.
He's
bro.
too sharp.
Yeah.
This is not you. And he was like smiling and laughing because he knew he was finna roast him.
Yeah.
He's like, yo. He's like, Debt Jam Records. He's like, you should start a label, Debt Jam Records.
They called him the president of Debt Jam Records. That's funny,
God.
Bro.
And then when he turned around, he said, like, you work at a coffin. He said, yeah, when you die. He's like, I wouldn't even wear that suit in my coffin. I'm like, dude, Charlamagne is the type of guy that he has many years of bad mental health that allow him to tell these
That's
jokes.
Hilarious.
Yeah, Charlamagne has many years.
That's comedy.
Many years of bad mental health that allowed him to be that quick on his toes to disrespect people.
I could only imagine, he's been like that. I mean, he's much more mature now.
Yeah.
But yeah, back in the day, his early when he was in Philadelphia, some of them radio shows, man, he was it's so crazy. It's kind of hard to explain. Like, cause if you see him now, you just see how mature he is, and which is like dope. Like I'm a huge fan of Charlamagne and what he's been able to do as far as business wise. And it's more, I would say I'm more of a fan of him in the podcast space, but he kind of does the podcast as a side job. But just if you were to just listen to the tone of his voice back in those old radio days, you could just tell he was like any moment he was going to say something raunchy or nasty or super disrespectful about an artist or a singer or a female that was being interviewed. But now he's just a much different person now.
He is.
Yeah, sometimes it comes out still.
Oh, it still comes out sometimes. Mm-hmm. Mariah Carey came on there and he's like, damn, Mariah, I didn't know you had ass. And she's like, what did you say?
Yeah, he used to say some wild stuff.
Jennifer Lopez got up and he sniffed the seat.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He said he would suck a fart out of, who was it?
Jennifer Lopez.
It was a handful of women though that he said he would suck a fart.
He said, I'll suck a fart out her butt.
Yeah.
And he was saying that, and it's like that shit. To go from that, and the thing about Charlamagne is like he lives his truth. Mm-hmm. So he literally lives his truth, so nobody can use it against him. If he ran for like local government out in South Carolina or whatever, they know all those videos are out there. And the other opponent is going to try to use that against Charlemagne, and it won't work.
You know what? This might, because they made the Petey Green biopic.
Okay.
You know, Petey Green, radio DJ.
Yeah.
I could see, maybe not now, it's going to be a few years, but I could see in maybe 10, 15 years a Charlemagne the God biopic.
Absolutely.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because especially a lot of the stuff he dealt with in Monk's Corner and his dad. Like, if you play it up, like, a lot, like part of where he was growing up and some of the stuff he was saying on radio and him getting fired from jobs and things like that, I think that'd be a good movie.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Shout out to Charlemagne, man. One of the bigger motivations behind this platform even starting.
Oh, 100%.
Was me listening. I didn't start really listening to podcasts until like 2017. And Keith had put me on the Brilliant Idiots podcast. I started listening to it. And I just was like, holy shit. Like, I fell in love with podcasting.
Yeah.
And it was.
I would be sorry to cut you off because I had a thought. I would be curious because I still have my old phone. I would be curious to see if I can go back and find like those early texts when I was like sending you like links to SoundCloud. That would be dope to see. Yeah. So I'm going to see if I can find those.
Yeah. You sent me some. Yeah. Those podcasts are crazy. They started back in like 2011 or 12 or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah, they were
because they were going for a long time before I had, like, you'd see it, and I'm sure you've seen it as well. But you would see it and you'd be like, I don't even know what this is. Like,
we're the podcasters that we started podcasting at a time where we weren't early, but we were not late.
Yeah,
we started in 2018, and a lot of our podcast brothers and sisters, I noticed that their podcast started around there. Like Poor Minds, they started in like 2018. Horrible Decisions, they started in 2018, but they're only a couple months older than us.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple other ones, but like we got a real catalog.
We started when it wasn't a fad. We started, it's almost like, you know, if you watch Straight Outta Compton or any of these early, like the Roxanne, you know, movie on Netflix and these things where it's like, it's just like it's a thing that people was doing in the neighborhood or whatever. Like, you know, you might see some guys DJing or whatever or going to like the parties and it's not a real thing yet. Like, people ain't really making bread off of it yet. They just kind of like doing it because they like doing it.
Yeah.
That's kind of when we got in. But now it's like pop, you know, it's like pop podcasting now where it's like everybody got a podcast, even like rappers and sports, you know, people, they have their podcasts like Paul George and Draymond Green and these guys. Everybody and their mom got a podcast.
Yeah. I just think that we've existed through many different phases of podcasting.
Right.
We started out like around the time a lot of the pioneers were releasing. We've lasted that. We lasted through the pandemic. There are a lot of podcasts that stopped during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Me and Keith recorded weekly, even during the pandemic. I used to have this big old tub of fucking sanitizer, and Keith would sit across from me, and we would just podcast every week. And I would get home from work, and I used to be like scared shitless because the news would have me scared, thinking that the world was going to end. They did a great job talking that up. Anyways.
We survived it all.
Yeah, we survived it all, man. We've seen everything from Nipsey passing to Kobe passing to, you know, all these different we've been through 2 presidential elections.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, because when we started, it was still Trump's first election. Then we went into Biden's. Now we back to Trump.
Yeah, because he got elected when I was in college. That's crazy.
Yeah, so we've seen the world, the landscape change a few times, and we're still here, and we're glad that you guys are still listening. But hey, enough of this. Okay, we got another topic to talk about now. Question for you, Keith. Would you like to? You want to skip that 50? You want to talk about that one? End it, or you would the David? Because that's still a developing story.
Yeah, we could end it on David.
You want to talk David?
We could probably. I mean, we could give the quick one a pass, like the football one a pass, just because that's our thing. So just a little quick 5-minute.
All right, switching gears. Let's get right into it. Meet Tom Cilio, the 58-year-old freshman playing Division III college football. I mean, this guy is the definition of chase your dreams.
For sure.
You know, Cilio, 58, currently a freshman, a defensive lineman for the Division III Lycoming College football team in Willingsport, Pennsylvania. I thought I'm going to give this a shot, and I'm really going to write the script, Cilio told before the start of the 2025 season. I'm going to let somebody talk me out of this or self-doubt pull me back, or I'm not going to. Celio is 4 years older than his head coach, Mike Clark, and all three of Celio's kids are older than any of his teammates. Oh, my God. It's crazy. More than 4 decades after graduating from Williamsport High School, Celio is giving football another shot after quitting his high school team during his freshman year and getting involved with drugs and alcohol. Oh, wow. This is actually a beautiful story.
Yeah,
honestly, I would have liked to have done this right out of high school, but the indiscretions of my youth prevented that, Celio told. You know what? I commend this, and I'm going to tell you why. Some people will say, like, this guy is old as dirt. What the fuck is he thinking, right? We're all going to die someday. Some people realize that, and some people don't, okay? And you got to do what you got to do with your life. If you're the age of like 35 and older and you're like, I'm a musician, but this music thing isn't looking real. Let me just get a regular job. Fuck that. Don't do that. What was it? Was it Vera Wang? I forgot. There was many people, like she made her first, who was it? Damn it. There's so many different stories of people who got their first start or made their first dress when they were 41. You know,
I know Oprah's kind of one that got started a little later.
Yeah.
And then the J.K. Rawlings. Yeah,
Rawlings.
I think she was a little bit older when she got her Harry Potter books off the ground.
2 Chainz, formerly known as Titty Boy, his career didn't really take off until he was 36. So people look at 2 Chainz like, oh, 2 Chainz is dope. Previously he was under Ludacris's label, I believe.
Yeah.
And then, he didn't really pop off, and then he just kept on going. Can you imagine, like, barely getting, like, legit notoriety at the age of 36?
Yeah.
To give you a reference, like, I just turned 40 just a while back. And for 2 Chainz, like, that's very close to 40 years of age. And he never quit, man. And now he's got to be easily around 50 now. 2 Chainz is up there. He's still making music, still making good music too.
Yeah. But no, I love this story, man. I think the thing about football is it's football, you got the X's and O's, but a lot of it is about life, man.
Right.
And I think that he is a person, and I have these moments every now and then where I'm like, dang, man, like I used to love playing, and this is not real, but I'm just saying, like, I used to love playing tennis, man. I would love to just go pick up a tennis racket and, go to an adult league and go out there and play. And, that's the beauty about life. Like, if you still got your limbs still work, you still got air in your lungs, you can just do anything. And there's a version of it that.
What the hell?
Come on, dog.
Charlie Kirk's wife thing popped up. Go ahead.
It's okay. We're on podcast.
All right.
But yeah, but I think that if you still got breath in your lungs and your limbs still work, like, there's a space for you. They got, like, even if you like hoop, there's adult leagues for basketball. There's flag football. A lot of my friends be playing, like, flag football games with other people, like 7-on-7 leagues and stuff like that. So it's I think it's really cool for somebody of his age to be able to, when he's old and, he's physically not capable of playing football anymore, to be like, yo, I did everything that I wanted in life. I did want to do it, 40 years ago or whatever, when I was graduating high school. But at the end of the day, I did it because this is what I put my mind to. Right. And, it seems like he's putting the work in, and it's not easy playing football.
No, hell no.
You can be on a terrible team, and it's not easy to play because it's hot, you sweat, and you bumping into people, and like you getting out there, you running sprints and things like that. Then you got to play a full game of football. So, I commend him. I think that should be inspiring. It's inspiring for me, but it's definitely inspiring, like, I'm sure for everybody else on this team. The coach probably be referencing him all the time, like, hey, you out here jogging, Celio sprinting to the football, this guy's 50 whatever years old and he's still out working y'all. So
yeah, the thing about it, this is like fulfilling a childhood dream. This is like it's nothing gonna come out of this. He's not going to the NFL or anything. But at the same time, like if we realize once again that we're all going to die someday, we would cut out the bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think in regards to this too, like that's one of the things that keeps me fighting as far as like this podcast or in general, is simply because, you know, we're on to something bigger. This is deeper than a podcast.
Right.
You know, so I think it's important to remain steadfast in whatever journey you set out on, because if you quit, you'll never fucking know.
I always bring up this thing, you know, because we're approaching 400 episodes, but I always bring up that meme or that graphic
of the dude with the pick.
Yeah, and he's like just hacking away at the rock or the dirt or whatever, and one person is turning around and the other person just keeps going, but there's like diamonds on the other side of it, and that stays on my mind all the time. Like, man, if you give up now, whatever it is, whether it's whatever art, business, you might have an idea for a food truck or something like that, and you know, maybe it's not as easy as you thought it would be, whatever the case may be. Quitting is the only way to fail, you know. Absolutely. And if you just keep going, and I wouldn't say keep going blindly, but keep going in a way where you're continually trying to improve yourself and continually trying to find ways to reach the top. I think that's kind of when you win. You know what I mean? That's my mission right there. Like, you know, like we were saying, I wouldn't want to, and I'm not saying it's easy to just be here all the time, because we got actual jobs and we only get 2 days off in a week. So
yeah, man,
it's not easy by any means, but I'm just saying, like, I don't want to quit because I don't want to look
I don't want to wonder.
Yeah, like, dang, what would it look, you know, be 50 years old? Like, dang, like, what would it have looked like? You know, especially if you start to see people around certain areas like popping off. Like, man, if we turn 50 and then it's like 3 or 4 podcasts from Bakersfield that's like going crazy, and we like, dog, we was the ones that like, we low-key started it all, you know, and they the ones that popped off because they just kind of took that momentum and kept going. So.
Yeah, I think that you could be a pioneer. You could be a Charlemagne. So, for example, nobody's popping off in radio anymore. Mm-hmm. There was a golden era where people were popping off, but that's not happening anymore. Right. Can you imagine being us? You've been podcasting for nearly 8 years, and then all of a sudden the surge of podcasts starts to go down a little bit, but we break through before it all stops.
Right.
And we become that, you know, that very well-known podcast. Not only that, I want to be the guy that if somebody asks me, hey, man, like, how'd y'all do it, man? How'd you do this? I'm like, well, we did X hundreds of amounts of episodes weekly until this happened. Like, if you're not willing to do 391 episodes every week, regardless of what happens in your life, regardless of my father passing, he had family that passed. And I say this shit, and I've mentioned this multiple times, but I think that if you're not willing to, if it's not on your heart to really do that, then it's never going to work.
Right.
It's never going to work. And people be like, so they paying you a lot of money for the podcast? And it's like, no, not yet. But it does, like, at the same time, like, even Charlemagne was not getting paid by Wendy Williams. He's like, there was lodging where he could stay there, but it was a while where he wasn't even getting a paycheck. Mm-hmm. And he's like, a lot of times an opportunity does not always come with a paycheck.
Right.
So you imagine a guy like Charlemagne. I think he was just having his first kid, or right before he had his first kid. Mm-hmm. He's at a job that pays him no money. Mm-hmm. You know how much balls it takes to do that?
Yeah.
But look at where he is now.
Yeah.
All it took was him having that foresight and that intuition.
Yep.
You know, and it got him there. But yep. Enough about Charlemagne. I'm giving him too much credit this episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we glazing.
Yeah, you glazing Charlemagne, man. You can hear this, man. I'm about to find something bad to say about you in a minute. All right, let's wrap it up here. Switching gears, a body of teen found in David's impounded Tesla is missing girl from Lake Elsinore. Let's be clear. David is a artist who is, you know, his fame surged during like 22, 21, right in there, 2021, 2022. And he was a streamer initially, and then he became an artist. And well, there's a lot of things swirling around about this guy. And it's a developing story. We're going to come back to this. But they found the body of a now 15, was 14 when it happened, a teenage young girl chopped up in the back of his Tesla while he was out on tour. So the car ended up getting impounded because it was parked on the street for too long and basically abandoned. Once it got to the tow yard, they smelled a funky smell. And when they opened it, they found the remains of a young girl back there.
Imagine how bad something has to smell to be in a tow yard where you got all kind of metal and dirt and all that, and that smell coming from that car is like reeking over everything in that tow yard.
Let's be clear though, this is not their first rodeo. Anybody that works at a tow yard has been experienced with many dead bodies. Oh yeah, because what happens too is a lot of mob hits and things like that went on, and a lot of times they put those they got those, what they call those things, those where they crush the cars.
I don't know what they call it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, when they go to like a tow yard or like a metal yard and they put the car in there and then they crush it. A lot of times they be having bodies.
That's more of junkyard stuff though.
Yeah, it's like junkyard, but they put the cars there. So I'm sure there's been a body in the backseat of those before.
Yeah.
But I think while it crushed it, like I think that they probably had to find the remains somehow. Yeah. Which is just, it's horrible. But there's just so much information that's still coming up on this. That girl that they found had a tattoo on her finger matching the artist David. And it said shh. So it said SSSSH. And they both had it on their finger. And then she also had a tattoo on her finger that said his name, David, on it. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was a teacher that was telling basically addressing the classroom. And the video was on TMZ. And basically he was telling about how he knew that girl and how she had ran away from home. And she had a boyfriend named David that was like some rapper. And
I was saying she was in his class.
Yeah, she was in his class. Yeah, she was in his class and she had ran away and then she came back. And the second time she ran off, she never was found again. And it was a cautionary tale. And he says, you know how they met, right? Social media.
Yeah.
And he was trying to like tell these kids, but the truth of the matter is these kids are so wrapped up in social, man, that I don't know if this is going to be an isolated thing. And also too, there's a lot of cryptic messaging in his music, which is like people don't want to use it as evidence, but you kind of got to look at it because it's very convenient. It's very strange.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was telling you, I was like, there have been some people like Jay-Z who have been fighting for them not to be able to use music in court cases and stuff
to
like
incriminate
that.
you and whatnot.
But the thing is, like when you have songs like "I Shot the Sheriff" or these songs that are obviously storytelling, you know, are meant to just be kind of allegories, not necessarily like literal things that happen. I think that that's perfectly fine. But what ends up happening is more times than not, you have, especially, you know, in our genre of music, a lot of these people are rapping about or singing about, you know, real experiences. And, you know, with that being said, I think that we should be able to use those things in court. It's just easy evidence. And it's not the only evidence they have, just because I don't think that, you know, that anybody's going to like them saying it in a song is not going to be enough, but it's going to be enough to support. Like, okay, you said you were over here in this third verse and this is where you were. We caught you on camera doing this. It's just evidence to support what's going on. But yeah,
I think that this guy, I think he might have, I don't know what kind of like psycho he was. But I think he found joy in like saying things and doing things in plain sight. And like,
you can kind of see that just even by the pictures.
Yes.
And the videos that he was with, like just kind of her being around and, you know, her kind of being a secret, but also kind of being in the know kind of thing.
Yeah, they would take pictures together, but she would always have her hand on her face, almost concealing her identity. But there was times where she was in plain sight. He also has a song called Celeste. Her name was Celeste Rivas, the one that died.
Well, people don't know because that song was unreleased.
Yeah.
So
and there's two Celestes that he was dealing with.
Yeah, so we don't really know. Like that's not a, you know, it's not on his Spotify, I would guess it would say.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. It says, "Oh Celeste, the girl with my name tattooed on her chest, smell on my clothes like cigarettes. I hear her voice each time I take a breath. I'm obsessed, Celeste." And he has these digitals, not these digital, but like these animated videos that he had where in the video he's like decapitating some girl in the video. It's just so fucking weird.
Dog, that stuff, man. I don't care what nobody say. That genre of music is just not ain't for nobody.
Yeah, it's
like
not.
that whole emo kind of thing. And I get that people are going through stuff, but that version of it, whatever that is that he got going on, where you're talking about killing people and stuff, that's just weird. Outside, if he's innocent, it's weird. But if
all
he
of it is
did
weird.
it's like even like with YNW Melly. Like I don't know what it is, but I mean, you got the gangster rappers, rapping about killing people that they actually killed.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Then you got the emo artists that are singing about murders that they did or rapping about. You got YNW Melly like talking about the person that he potentially shot. He's still in, fighting the court case or fighting a battle now. Then you got David, who's out here basically has a song Romantic Homicide. Like, I really don't understand it. And these people are sick. But I think outside of the music, and you got labels and stuff supporting this weird music. I think that the girl's parents and I don't know the full story, so I'm not gonna speak definitively about it. But I would just say I think that as a parent of anybody, I'm not even gonna necessarily say it needs to be a young girl, but just in this case, it's a young girl. For the freedom that she had to communicate with this person. And mind you, David is 5 years older than she is. She was a young girl. She was a teenager at the time when they started communicating. For a parent to kind of allow all
weird.
This stuff to go on, like you did your daughter a disservice.
You got to try the parents for things like this. It doesn't make any sense. It's like you sold her to the highest bidder, man. It's just an unprotected child. It can be a victim, and I think that there was a couple different serial killers, and there was a story. I forgot the killer's name, but it was on on Netflix, where he knew that a home was vulnerable when they didn't have a strong father figure in the home, and he could infiltrate the whole family. So when you don't have my thing is this. If you're an older dude and you're trying to talk to a teenager, you're doing that because you've literally you staked out the situation, and you said, "Oh, her mom's never home. There's no man in the house. I could just say I'm her friend, and her mom seems like she'll go for it." Because that's the only thing I could think of. There's no way. And the sad part about this is I vividly remember being in high school back in 2003, and I've seen girls that I like. Maybe I like them. They're 16, 17, and I'm 17. And they're getting picked up by a grown man. There's a dude that's 21 years old picking them up from school. It's like a dude driving up there in a fucking Camaro IROC Z, a grown-ass man picking up his girlfriend in high school. And this was more common than it should have been. And it happened a lot.
Yeah.
It's dude, we can't allow this. Also, I think that there's so many people that are afraid to lose their job that they don't correct artists like this. When you see something weird, if you're security personnel or whatever, you need to either get the fuck out of there or you need to file a complaint somewhere. Who is this fucking 14-year-old girl that's walking around with him? She doesn't even look mature for her age.
Right.
What the fuck is she doing here? This is nothing but adults.
Yeah, I seen something that they were saying on the internet, and I don't know who it came from, but somebody was she lied about her age. It's
Come on,
dog,
bro.
she could lie all she want to. She looked like she, and mind you, I work in a high school, so I know what these young girls look like. And I know it may sound weird, but even in high school, you can experience. When I was in high school, there was the girls that were they had body, right? A mature body. Right. And then there were girls that just looked like they were 13, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of knew who those girls were in high school. So, with this specific situation, this girl, she just looks like she's a young teenager.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
She just looks like a very petite girl. So that's not the one that you would mistake for being an adult,
Yeah, there's very dark messaging in his music too. In the back of my mind, you died,
and then he tries to explain
and
it.
I didn't even cry.
He was on the whatever it was, explaining.
I know
the
you're
lyrics.
talking about. He's like not killing them in a real way, but hypothetically speaking, like you died and I didn't cry, like not a single tear, And it's like, bro,
like, no, you really killed somebody.
Yeah, you really killed somebody.
You went on tour.
I told Keith the other day, I said that they're gonna get this guy. He's gonna be arrested by next week. And he was like, these things take time, Eddie. Like, this could take a while. But I feel like with this, I'm not saying it's an open shut case, but I think there's so much shit that's swirling around, and the amount of evidence that's also being released on TikTok is wild. The conversations that are being released, the live streams that are popping back up, all kinds of shit where she was in his live stream with her face uncovered, wearing these large glasses in the live stream, and you could tell she was a fucking kid.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, he was with her backstage. She had a hoodie on, and she turned around, and her whole face was exposed. And now that same girl has her body sliced up. We're talking about he's going to at least be brought in for. They said he's cooperating with them, right? That's the news. They said they're cooperating, but I feel like he'll be in custody either by tomorrow or later in the week. That's my prediction.
Yeah,
I feel like they took his laptop too. They went to his house. They have his laptop.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's in there.
They're gonna do their due diligence. Like I was saying, I was saying more so like I'm not saying that he won't get arrested.
Yeah, but it takes
next
time.
week. I'm just saying that when it comes to these things, I think Diddy took like 6 months or something like that from the time that they raided his house. So and I think that it's been a couple other cases, like even with my cousin Kaysen, that situation. It took one of the guys got arrested. I was driving the car, and then they ended up letting him go, and then they arrested him again once they had more evidence and stuff like that. So I think with these situations, I think that they don't want to do that. They don't want to look stupid. So they're gonna pile up all the evidence that they can before they get that warrant for the arrest. Then they're gonna present this to the judge. Like, this is all the evidence we have. We got a laundry list. We got text messages, we got videos, we got the pings from the internet, and that's more so what I was saying is not that there's not enough evidence already.
They just got to
get
more.
But more so, it takes time for the coroners and stuff and the doctors or whatever, the morticians to do their job to figure out the cause of certain things. So obviously she chopped up, but they may have figured out the actual cause of death, so sometimes it takes, autopsies and things like that take time. So.
Absolutely. And they also found she had some like Hello Kitty slides on when she died, and she was wearing. And he had those.
He had a video of those.
Yeah. So it's like, I think I will say this, the difference between him and P. Diddy is I feel like P. Diddy had compromised a lot of people, which made him be able to make it like, hide his cover for quite some time. But I think this guy was doing this shit in plain sight. And they talk about like art imitates life. And I feel like maybe this was something he used in his art.
Yeah.
And I think he's probably a murderer. And I think that he was using influences from his real life and incorporating them in his songs, because the fact that he walks around with the fake bloody T-shirt, and he's done this numerous times, and then you have a dead body in the back of your car. Who else has he killed? That's what my question is, because this can't be a one-off. There's no they need to dig into this kid and see what kind of shit he's into, because this is very strange.
Yeah, the strangest thing to me is that the girl was gone for like that. I was listening to another podcast and they were saying it was like, if this girl was missing, like what? And I hate to put myself in that situation, but whatever the situation is, if you have a missing child, you should be like screaming to the rafters. You know what I mean? Like, why aren't you on the news talking? Why aren't you on social media? Why aren't you posting pictures around town?
The brother reported it.
Well, that's what they were saying. I guess there's some screenshots of like text messages, but I don't know about like the validity of those things, but either way, what I'm saying is that there's a girl missing. I think the bad part about it is us watching enough, like CSI or whatever, we kind of know how these things go. If because I guess the mom had said that she knew that her daughter was dating a guy named David or whatever. If you know that your daughter is gone, and I don't know how when the last time they seen her in comparison to when they found her in the car. But if you know your daughter is gone, the first thing you do is interview the person she's dating. That's crime investigation 101. You know, just because you know that your daughter or son, whatever, is spending the most time with this person. So
Absolutely.
I don't know. I just think the parents did her a disservice, and rest in peace to her. And she was a young girl that had a lot of life to live, and unfortunately she didn't escape or learn her lesson in this situation. But
yeah, I
think it is a cautionary tale for parents and for young women and young boys out there that it's you just never know who you talking to on the internet and stuff like that.
I'll say this. I want to wrap it up with this. From a personal account. Okay, this is back in the day. So my sister was 16. She was working at the Boys and Girls Club. And me and my dad stopped by there to pick up my sister. And when we stopped to pick her up, it was some dude that pulled up, and he had a white IROC Z, and he was bringing her Taco Bell. And the dude looked a little bit older. And my dad was like, who the fuck is this? So my dad walked up on the dude. He said, hey, man, who the fuck is you, and why are you around my daughter? He's like, oh, just bringing her some food, sir. He said, how old are you? And I think the dude was like 20 or something like that. He was like 20 years old. He said, hey, man, you need to get in your shit and get the fuck away from me and my daughter. He's like, who are you? Where you from? Like, who is your parents? Like, my dad like shook him down for information. And the dude was literally scared. By the way, this dude was an East Side Crip, right? But he was scared shitless of my father.
How old was your sister?
My sister was 16. That's what I led with that. She was 16 at the time, working at the Boys and Girls Club. And this dude was about 20 or 21 years of age, coming up there trying to talk to my sister. And after he got his information, my dad hit up dude's mom. And the dude's mom was trying to get at my dad. And my dad was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. These people just ain't shit. So basically, my dad had shook him down, and then he called the dude's phone. He's like, nigga, if I ever see you around my family or around my daughter, it's over for you. Do you understand me? And I really think my dad wanted to kill him, man. I swear to God. Yeah. And I think, and it got so bad. One time, my dad had went to the nightclub, and the dude was in there. And my pops wasn't even like tripping on the dude. But when he walked in, the dude ran out, took off running and ran out of the club. And see, this is the point I'm going back to, is that when you have vulnerabilities in your household and you got lenient parents that just let the kids do anything, that motherfucker gets the right to be a predator. But if I got a daughter, I'm going to be the same way my dad was. If I ever see you around my house or near my daughter, I do not mind taking a long vacation somewhere if you come around here and you got no business being around my young fucking daughter. Get out of here. You will never have the right to be around. Even if I had a son, if my son was 15, 16, and it's a woman that's 24, I'd be like, if you don't get the fuck away from my son, actually, I wouldn't have to do that. Because if I'm married, I would have to worry about my wife getting that woman. Yeah. Like, you're not about to be a grown woman messing with my son. That's not going to happen. So we commonly look at the men being predators, but it's a lot of women. And there's a lot of stories of celebrities talking about, when I was 14, she was 35. And it's a lot of those stories. So it's like, man, actually, I have a not a legit story, but it happened to me it was Christmas. It was 90. Was it 98? Yeah, it was 98. Was it 97? It was 98, December of 98. And I remember we had a next door neighbor that had a little Christmas party. And she was really cool, and I went to school with her kids. And I was in the 8th grade. Yep, that means it was 98 then. Anyways, and the lady had her friend that was over there. But in the 8th grade, I was probably like 5'11". I was pretty tall, even for then. And the lady started pushing up on me. And I guess my dad and my friend's mom or whatever, they were outside just having a conversation. And then she opened the door and seen her friend acting like that with me. It was like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? Get away from him. And then my dad was like, what the fuck are you doing around my son? He's like, and then we left and we got up out of there. But like those two isolated incidents are enough for me to understand that there are people out there like this.
Yeah.
Like, the lady was drunk, but that's not an excuse to push up on a fucking 8th grader.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's wild, dude.
What was you gonna do?
I don't know. I wasn't gonna do shit. I wasn't getting pussy yet, so I didn't know what was going on. And I wasn't like turned on by the lady. She wasn't like attractive anyways, but at the same time, it's like, come on, man. Like an 8th grader?
It is unfortunate that, I don't know, it's just something about the psychology. And I'm not saying it logistically makes sense. I'm just saying, like, as just like a feeling, like it's different from with the men and women. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. No. I'm just saying it's a difference. Where you see like the guy, like a young guy would brag about it. You know, if he was to sleep with an older woman, he would brag about it versus like, you know, how that would look for a younger girl, you know. So it's unfortunate that our society views it in that way.
Yeah, I'm looking up, let me see here. Okay. Charlie Chaplin was the one we talked about a long time ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Charlie Chaplin, young girlfriends who are most predominantly discussing his relation to his later life, where Ona O'Neill, whom he married at 18, and his previous wife, Lita Gray, whom he married at 16. Chaplin also had a brief relationship with young Hefty Kelly, who served as an early muse for him, a secret marriage to, he had a lot of and he was 53?
Yeah, his wife was really young.
Oh my God.
When he passed away, she was super young. Yeah.
Oh my God.
But yeah, he the way they describe it, if you've ever seen the movie, the Charlie Chaplin biopic, who's played by Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
There was, and I don't know if it's real, but it's just, you know, when you're writing a movie, you have a lot of creative license.
Yeah.
So I think he was coming, I don't know where he's from originally, but he's coming from another country, trying to go to America to kind of live the Hollywood dream or whatever. And he fell in love with this young girl. And at the time, they were the same age, maybe like both like 17, 18 years old. So he falls in love with her, and she promises him or something like, I'm gonna always write you, or we'll stay in contact, whatever. And then he gets to America and he starts doing his thing, his acting and directing and stuff. And he's continuing to write her, but he doesn't get any response, and continues to write her or whatever. And then I think he finally goes back to the country, or however it would have, I don't know what happened, but he finds out that the woman passed away, or she died because she got sick. And, you know, back then there was a lot of those polio and different, you know, different diseases and viruses that people would catch that is not as lethal anymore. So she ends up dying, and then from then on, they kind of make it seem like he's trying to recreate that relationship. So no matter how old he got, he still was finding these young women. And, you know, I think pedophilia it's a very, like, there's a specific age group, I think, that pedophiles kind of fall under. And I think his women were a little bit older, so I don't think he was technically like a pedophile, but, you know, he definitely liked those older teenage women, you know, and he married, like you said, he was 50-some years old, and his wife was 18 or whatever. So, yeah, man, that's different.
Very strange, Charlie Chaplin.
Yes.
Very strange, sir.
Yes.
All right. Well, I hate to end on that note, but looks like we got to go, folks. All right. Well, if you made it to the end of this episode, we genuinely appreciate you. Thank you for listening to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Things.
We're out of here.
Peace.